The journey back to Alliance space was tense. Commander Jiho had broken the most important rule by entering Zone X7. Now he was bringing back a human ship, a vessel from a race thought to be extinct for over 300 years. Alliance Control. This is Patrol Vessel Sentinel requesting emergency docking, Jiho said into the communication system. He had decided not to mention the human ship until they were safely docked. Sentinel, this is Alliance Control. State the nature of your emergency. Jiho glanced at his crew. They all looked nervous but determined. We have made a discovery that requires immediate attention from High Command. I can't discuss it over open channels. There was a pause before Alliance Control responded. Proceed to Docking Bay 7. Security teams will meet you there. Acknowledged. Jiho turned off the communication system and looked at his officers. They'll arrest me as soon as they see the human ship. I want all of you to make it clear in your statements that I ordered this mission. You were following my commands. We're all part of this, Commander, Hanul said firmly. We all agreed to bring the ship back, Sunmi added. Taewoo nodded. We stand together. Jiho felt proud of his crew but also worried for them. Thank you. But my career was already long and good. Yours are just beginning. Don't throw them away for me. The Sentinel approached the Alliance station, carefully towing the human vessel horizon behind it. As expected, their arrival caused immediate chaos. The sight of the strange ship with its human markings sent shock waves through the station. Within minutes, security ships surrounded them, and their communication system lit up with urgent messages. Sentinel, what is the meaning of this? Identify the vessel you are towing. Jiho took a deep breath. This is Commander Jiho. The vessel is the Earth Exploration Vessel Horizon. It is of human origin, and we found it in Zone X7. There is a surviving human in stasis aboard. The silence that followed was deafening. Then remain where you are. Do not attempt to dock. Security teams are on their way to your position. When the security teams boarded the Sentinel, they treated the crew like dangerous criminals. Armed officers in full armor stormed onto the bridge, weapons ready. Commander Jiho, you are under arrest for violating restricted space protocols, announced the lead officer. Your crew will be detained for questioning. Jiho stood tall as they placed restraints on his wrists. My crew was following my orders. They bear no responsibility. The security team ignored him, placing all 4 crew members in restraints. They were separated and taken to different parts of the station for questioning. The human ship was secured in a special docking area, surrounded by guards and science teams. For 3 days, Jiho was kept in a holding cell, answering the same questions over and over again. Why did he enter Zone X7? What made him think the ship was human? Why did he bring it back instead of reporting it first? Each time he gave the same answers. The discovery was too important to risk being buried by bureaucracy. The human ship changes everything we know about history. On the 4th day, the door to his cell opened to reveal a small woman with sharp eyes and a formal uniform. Commander Jiho, I am Director CO of Alliance Intelligence. Walk with me. Jiho followed her down the corridor, noticing they had removed his restraints. My crew? Released to restricted quarters. They are not being charged. Director Seo led him to a viewing room overlooking a medical bay. Through the window, Jiho could see the stasis pod from the horizon, now connected to Alliance medical equipment. Around it, doctors and scientists worked busily. We've begun the process of reviving the human captain, Director Seo explained. It must be done slowly to prevent shock to her system. Then you believe me? About the ship being human? Director Seo gave him a cool look. We've confirmed it is of human design. The AI system, DA, has been cooperating with our technicians. The story it tells is troubling. The truth often is, Jiho replied. Truth? She raised an eyebrow. Do you know what will happen if word gets out that humans survived? That the official history of their extinction might be wrong. It would cause chaos throughout the Alliance. People deserve to know the truth. What people deserve and what is good for them are not always the same thing. Director Seo countered. The Vorn representatives are already demanding the ship be destroyed, and the human eliminated as a threat to galactic security. Jiho felt cold anger rise inside him. She's not a threat. She's the last survivor of a race we thought was gone. Perhaps not the last, Director Seo said quietly. Day has indicated there were other ships affected by the Fold space experiment. The human may not be alone. Before Jiho could respond, one of the medical staff approached the window and signaled to them. Director Seo pressed a button to activate the communication system. Director, the revival process has reached the final stage. The subject is showing strong brain activity. She may regain consciousness within the hour. I want to be there, Jiho said immediately. Director Seo studied him for a long moment, then nodded. You found her. Perhaps a familiar face, and even an alien one, would be better than waking to a room full of strangers. They entered the medical bay, putting on clean suits to protect the patient from any germs. The doctors had removed the human captain from the stasis pod and placed her on a medical bed. She looked pale but alive, her chest rising and falling with steady breaths. She was smaller than Jiho had expected, with dark hair and features that reminded him of Sunmi. Remarkable, murmured the chief doctor, a tall alien named Dr. Juwon. Physically, she appears to be approximately 30 years old. The stasis technology preserved her perfectly. Will she understand us? Jiho asked. Will she know our language? The AI provided language files, Dr. Juwon explained. We've uploaded them to translation devices. Communication should be possible. They waited as the medical team completed the revival process. Finally, the human's eyelids began to flutter. Everyone in the room went still, watching as Captain Minji of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon opened her eyes for the first time in over 3 centuries. She blinked slowly, her gaze unfocused at first. Then her eyes sharpened, taking in the alien faces around her. To Jiho's surprise, she didn't seem afraid. Instead, she looked resigned. So, she said in a raspy voice, we made it after all. The translation device converted her words smoothly. Captain Minji, Dr. Juwon said gently, I am Dr. Juwon of the Galactic Alliance. You are safe. Minji tried to sit up and the medical team helped her. How long? She asked. According to your ship's AI, approximately 327 standard years, Jiho answered. Minji closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, they were filled with determination. My crew? Dr. Juwon looked uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Your AI informed us that you are the last survivor. Minji nodded once, accepting this news with remarkable calm. And the war? The Vorn. Director Seo stepped forward. The conflict ended shortly after your disappearance. The Galactic Alliance was formed to prevent such wars in the future. The Vorn are members now. And humanity? Minji asked, though she seemed to already know the answer. Jiho spoke softly. Until we found your ship, it was believed that all humans had been wiped out in the final battles of the war. Minji looked at him sharply. Believed by whom, the Vorn? Did they tell you they hunted down the last of us? The room fell silent. Director Seo's expression hardened. Those are serious accusations, Captain. They're not accusations. They're facts. Minji's voice gained strength. The Vorn didn't want peace. They wanted extinction, our extinction. That's why we launched the Fold Space project. It wasn't just exploration. It was survival. You have been in stasis for a very long time, Director Seo said carefully. Much has changed. Some things never change. Minji looked around the room. Where's Day? I need to speak with him. The AI is being studied by our technical teams, Dr. Juwon explained. Its knowledge is quite valuable. Minji's expression darkened. Day isn't just an AI. He contains the complete history of Earth and humanity. He has protocols to activate only for me. She fixed Director Seo with a hard stare. There are things your technical teams won't be able to access without me. Jiho saw something flash across Director Seo's face. Interest, perhaps, or calculation. What kind of things, Captain Minji? Information about the other ships. About where they were going. About our final plan. Minji swung her legs over the side of the bed, ignoring the doctor's protests. I need to see my ship. I need to access the secure files. Before it's too late. Too late for what? Jiho asked. Minji looked at him, her eyes intense. The Fold space jump didn't just move us through space. It moved us through time. The Horizon was just one ship of many. We were scattered, but not randomly. There was a plan. Director Seo's expression was now openly suspicious. What plan? To return when it was safe. To rebuild. Minji stood up, a little shaky but determined. Day was monitoring temporal signals. My revival wasn't an accident. It means the others are coming back too. The room erupted in concerned murmurs. Director Seo raised a hand for silence. Are you saying there are more human ships out there? That they could appear at any time? Not any time. Minji corrected. The right time. The calculations were precise. If I'm awake now, it means we're close to the convergence point. Convergence point? Jiho repeated. Commander Jiho sat in his chair on the bridge of the patrol ship Sentinel. He was a man who followed rules. In his 20 years working for the Galactic Alliance, he had never broken a single rule. The ship moved slowly along the edge of the forbidden area called Zone X7. This place had been off-limits to all ships for over 300 years. Standard patrol almost done. Commander, said Taewoo, the pilot. His fingers moved over the control panel with practiced ease. Jiho nodded. Good. Keep us on course. These patrols were boring but necessary. The official reason Zone X7 was forbidden was because of space problems that made it dangerous. But everyone knew the real reason was political. This place was where the final battle between the Alliance and humans happened long ago. Humans were now extinct, wiped out in that war. The 4 crew members of the Sentinel were all from different backgrounds. Jiho was the oldest and most experienced. Hanul worked as tactical officer, always ready for trouble even though these patrols rarely had any. Sunmi was the science expert, constantly checking readings and data. Taewoo was the youngest, a skilled pilot who could fly through the tightest spaces with ease. 10 minutes until we complete the patrol route, Taewoo announced. Jiho was about to respond when Sunmi spoke up. Commander, I'm getting strange readings. Her voice was tight with surprise. What kind of readings? Jiho turned toward her station. Sunmi's fingers moved quickly across her screen. There's a ship inside Zone X7. That's not possible, Hanul said, looking up from her tactical station. No one has permission to enter that zone. The readings are clear, Sunmi insisted. There's definitely a ship in there. Jiho frowned. Could it be debris? Maybe an old wreck that drifted in? No, Commander. It's powered. Not moving much, but definitely active. Sunmi looked up, her face pale. And there's something else. The design, it doesn't match any known ship in our database. Pirates? Smugglers? Hanil suggested, already checking weapon systems. No. Sunmi shook her head. But there is a partial match. The computer says the closest design similarity is with human ships. The bridge went completely silent. Everyone stared at Sunmi. That's impossible, Jiho said quietly. Humans have been gone for 300 years. The Vorn killed the last of them before the Alliance could stop the fighting, Taewoo added. Everyone knew this history. Show me, Jiho ordered. Sunmi pressed a button and the main screen lit up. There, drifting slowly through the Forbidden Zone, was a ship unlike any they had seen before. It was damaged but still intact. Its design was strange, sleeker than Alliance ships with odd angles and unfamiliar parts. On its side were faded marks that looked like writing. Jiho leaned forward, squinting at the screen. Zoom in on those markings. The image zoomed in, showing strange symbols painted on the hull. That's human writing, Jiho whispered. He had studied human history in school, one of the few who took special courses on the extinct race. But that's impossible. Are you sure, Commander? Hanul asked. Yes. Those are English letters, a human language. Jiho couldn't believe what he was seeing. Sunmi, any life signs? Sunmi checked her readings again. Yes, very faint, but there's something alive in there. Jiho sat back in his chair, his mind racing. A human ship with life signs inside, found in forbidden space. This went against everything they knew about history. The humans were supposed to be gone, wiped out completely, yet here was proof that something had survived. What do we do, Commander? Taewoo asked. We're supposed to finish our patrol and return to base. Jiho knew the right answer. They should report this to headquarters and wait for orders. That's what the rules said. But something about this discovery felt too important. If they reported it, who knew what would happen? The information might be buried. The ship destroyed before anyone could learn its secrets. Set a course to intercept that ship, Jiho said. 3 shocked faces turned to look at him. Commander, Hanul said carefully, that would mean entering Zone X7. That's against regulations. I know. Jiho met her gaze steadily. I'll take full responsibility. Sir, this could end your career, Taewoo pointed out. Jiho nodded. Some things are more important than careers. If that's really a human ship, it changes everything we know about history. We need to see it up close. After a moment, Taewoo nodded and turned back to his controls. Setting course for intercept. The Sentinel turned. crossing the invisible line that marked the boundary of Zone X7. As they moved deeper into the forbidden zone, the ship's sensors began to show strange readings. "I'm getting unusual energy patterns," Sunmi reported. "Nothing dangerous, but definitely not normal space." "Keep monitoring," Jiho ordered. "Hanul, try to contact that ship." Hanul sent signals on all standard frequencies, but there was no response. "Nothing, Commander. Either their communication system is damaged or they're not answering." The Sentinel moved closer to the mysterious ship. From this distance, the damage was more visible. Scorch marks along one side, a cracked section near what looked like engines. "It's been through a battle," Hanul observed, "and a bad one. But the damage looks old," Sunmi added, studying her readings. "Like it happened a long time ago." Jiho stared at the ship, feeling a chill run down his spine. How could a damaged human ship survive here for 300 years? And with life signs still aboard? "Maybe it's not human," Taewoo suggested. "Maybe it just looks similar." "There's only one way to find out." Jiho stood up. "Prepare a boarding party." "Hanul, Sunmi, you're with me." "Taewoo, keep the Sentinel ready for immediate departure if anything goes wrong." As they prepared to board the mysterious ship, Jiho recorded a message in the ship's log. "This is Commander Jiho. I take full responsibility for entering Zone X7 against regulations. The discovery of what appears to be a human vessel with life signs aboard justifies this action in my judgment." The three officers put on spacesuits with magnetic boots and emergency air supplies. They moved through the airlock and crossed the short distance between the ships using jetpacks. The mystery ship had a functioning airlock, which was surprising for such an old, damaged vessel. "The airlock is working," Sunmi said as they stepped inside. "And there's atmosphere inside. Breathable but cold." They removed their helmets after confirming the air was safe. The interior of the ship was dark, with only emergency lights giving a faint red glow to the corridors. "Definitely not Alliance design," Hanul noted, looking at the angular doorways and strange control panels. Jiho touched one wall, feeling the cold metal under his fingertips. "We're standing inside a piece of history. A ship that shouldn't exist." They moved deeper into the vessel, following Sunmi's scanner that showed the faint life signs. The ship was eerily quiet, their footsteps echoing through empty corridors. They passed rooms that looked like crew quarters, a small dining area, and what might have been a command center. "The design is efficient," Hanul noted. "Different from ours, but I can see the logic in it." "Life signs are stronger now," Sunmi reported. Just ahead, they entered a room filled with strange equipment. In the center was a large tube-like chamber made of clear material. Inside, they could see a figure floating in some kind of liquid. "It's a stasis pod," Sunmi said, examining the controls. "Very advanced. It's keeping someone alive." They moved closer to the pod. Inside was a human female, her eyes closed as if sleeping. She wore a uniform with insignia they didn't recognize. A small screen on the pod displayed information in human writing. "Can you read any of that?" Hanul asked Jiho. Jiho squinted at the screen. "Some of it. My human language studies were a long time ago. I think this says captain and a name, Minji." "A human captain," Sunmi whispered. "After all this time, how is this possible?" Hanul asked. "Humans were wiped out centuries ago. Everyone knows that." "Not everyone was right," came a voice from behind them. The three officers spun around, reaching for their weapons. A figure had appeared near the door, but it wasn't solid. It flickered slightly, a hologram of an older human male with gray hair and a stern face. "Who are you?" Jiho demanded. "I am Day," the hologram replied. "Ship's computer interface and historical archives for the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. And you are the first visitors we have had in a very long time." Jiho lowered his weapon slowly. "How long have you been here?" The hologram's expression remained neutral. "By my calculations, approximately 327 standard years. Though time passes strangely in this region of space." "That's impossible," Hanul said. "No ship could survive that long on its own." "The Horizon was designed for deep space exploration," Day explained. "Our systems were built to last, though not without cost." The hologram gestured to the pod. "Captain Minji is the last survivor. The others died when life support began failing 70 years ago. She entered stasis as a final resort." Jiho felt his head spinning with questions. "The history we know says humans were wiped out in the final battle with the Vorn, that the last survivors were hunted down before the Alliance could establish peace." The hologram smiled sadly. "History is written by the survivors, Commander. and sometimes it is deliberately falsified. The truth is more complex. The Horizon was part of a special fleet testing experimental fold space technology during the final days of the war. We were attempting to find a new home for humanity, knowing. The news that Admiral Suho was leading the returning fleet spread quickly through the Alliance station. The council members argued about what it meant, what should be done. Some wanted to send warships to meet the humans. Others suggested diplomatic vessels with welcome messages. The Vorn wanted to send their entire fleet, weapons ready. This is a military invasion, Koro insisted during an emergency council session. These humans have been planning this for centuries, hiding in time, waiting to strike. If they wanted to strike, they would appear directly at Earth, Ambassador Jinwoo pointed out. Instead, they're arriving in neutral space away from populated systems. That suggests peaceful intentions. The debate went on for hours while Minji waited anxiously. Finally, the council reached a compromise. A mixed fleet would be sent to meet the returning humans. It would include diplomatic vessels, science ships to study the time phenomenon, and yes, warships to protect Alliance interests. Jiho's ship, the Sentinel, would lead the way with Minji aboard to facilitate first contact. As they prepared to depart, Director Seo approached Minji. The council has a message for Admiral Suho. She handed Minji a data pad. These are the terms they're offering. Territory in the outer systems, aid in resettlement, eventual consideration for Alliance membership. Minji glanced at the terms. Nothing about Earth. Earth is non-negotiable, Director Seo said firmly. It has been Vorn territory for 3 centuries. Millions of Vorn have been born there, lived their entire lives there. They know no other home. Neither do humans, Minji replied. But I'll deliver your message. Aboard the Sentinel, the atmosphere was tense but excited. The crew had been through a lot since finding Minji's ship. But now they were part of something historic. The return of humanity to the galaxy. Course set for the coordinates. Taewoo reported from the pilot's station. How long? Jiho asked. 4 hours at standard speed. We'll arrive well before the projected appearance of the human fleet. Jiho nodded and turned to Minji, who stood gazing at the stars on the view screen. How are you feeling? Nervous, she admitted. I've been alone for so long. The last human. Now I'll be one of many again. Are you worried about meeting Admiral Suho after all this time? Minji smiled slightly. Suho was like a father to me. He believed in the Kronos Protocol when everyone else thought it was too risky. He saved thousands of lives by pushing it forward. Her smile faded. But 300 years is a long time. He might have changed. People do, Jiho agreed. But core values usually remain. As the Sentinel journeyed toward the coordinates, other Alliance ships joined them. A growing fleet of diverse vessels representing many races. Notably absent were any Vorn ships. They had refused to participate in what they called a surrender to human aggression. In the final hour before arrival, Minji spent time with Dai, downloading the latest information about what had happened during her long sleep. The histories are incorrect in many places, Dai noted. They claim humans fought to the last, refusing peace offers. When in reality the Vorn rejected our surrender terms and continued attacking civilian targets, Minji said bitterly. They wanted us gone, completely wiped out. They nearly succeeded. Perhaps that is why they fear your return, Dai suggested. They know what they did and fear you seek revenge. We just want to live, Minji sighed. To have a home again. When they reached the coordinates, there was nothing to see but empty space. The Alliance fleet spread out, sensors scanning for any sign of temporal disturbance. Now we wait, Jiho said. They didn't wait long. Just 20 minutes after arriving, the sensors began registering unusual energy readings. Something's happening, Sunmi reported from her science station. The space ahead is folding somehow. On the view screen, they watched as the fabric of space seemed to ripple and twist. Strange lights flashed in patterns no one had seen before. Then suddenly a ship appeared where nothing had been a moment before. Then another, and another. 10 ships detected, Hanyul announced from Tactical. Configuration matches Captain Minji's vessel, but larger. No weapons powered. They appeared to be in defensive formation. The ships were beautiful in a strange way. Their designs unlike anything in the current alliance. They moved with precision, forming a perfect arc in space. The largest vessel, positioned at the center, was nearly twice the size of the others. The Defiant, Minji whispered. Suho's flagship. They're hailing us, Hanyul reported. On screen, Jiho ordered. The view screen changed to show the bridge of the human vessel. At its center stood a tall, gray-haired man with sharp eyes and a serious expression. He wore a uniform similar to Minji's but with more elaborate insignia. His gaze swept the Sentinel's bridge, then fixed on Minji. "Captain Minji," he said, his voice deep and calm. "It's good to see you again." "It has been a very long time." "Admiral Suho," Minji replied, her voice thick with emotion. "You made it, as did you." Suho's expression softened slightly. "When we received your warning, I feared the worst. But it seems you found allies." His gaze shifted to Jiho. "You command this vessel?" "I am Commander Jiho of the Galactic Alliance patrol ship Sentinel," Jiho introduced himself. "On behalf of the Alliance, I welcome you." Suho nodded. "We appreciate the welcome, Commander. But I sense we have much to discuss. The warning we received mentioned Earth is now Vorn territory." "Yes," Jiho confirmed. "It has been for over 3 centuries." Suho's face revealed nothing of his thoughts. "I see, and where do you stand on this matter, Commander? Do you support their claim?" Jiho chose his words carefully. "I support finding a peaceful solution that recognizes the rights and needs of all involved." A diplomatic answer, Suho noted. "But fair enough." He turned his attention back to Minji. "Captain, I would like you to transfer to the Defiant. There are people here who have waited a very long time to see you again." Minji looked at Jiho questioningly. He nodded. "Of course. We can arrange transport immediately." "I would like Commander Jiho to accompany me," Minji added. "He has been helpful in navigating this new time." Suho considered this, then agreed. "Very well. We will prepare to receive both of you." As the communication ended, Jiho ordered a shuttle prepared. He and Minji would travel alone to the human flagship, while the rest of the Alliance fleet maintained position. "Are you sure about this?" Hanuel asked Jiho privately. "Boarding their vessel?" "Someone needs to establish direct contact," Jiho replied. "And Minji, trust me. Just be careful," Hanuel warned. "We know very little about these humans and their technology." The shuttle trip was short but tense. Minji sat quietly, lost in thought. "It's strange," she finally said as they approached the Defiant. "For Suho, it might have been only months or years since he last saw me, depending on how the time displacement affected his ship. For me, it's been centuries, yet also just days since I woke up. Time doesn't make sense anymore." "Focus on what does make sense," Jiho advised. "The people, the connections, those are real regardless of time." The Defiant's docking bay was larger and more advanced than anything on the Sentinel. As they stepped out of the shuttle, Jiho saw dozens of humans watching them. Some in uniforms, others in civilian clothes. All had the same expression of wonder and hope. Admiral Suho was waiting with a small group of officers. Up close, Jiho could see the man was older than he had appeared on screen, with lines of worry and responsibility etched into his face. "Minji," Suho said warmly, stepping forward to embrace her. "You can't imagine how glad I am to see you survived." "And you," Minji replied, returning the embrace. "I thought I might be the only one left." Suho turned to Jiho, extending a hand in what Jiho recognized as a human greeting gesture. "Commander, thank you for bringing Minji safely to us, and for your part in finding the horizon." Jiho took the offered hand, feeling the firm grip. "I am honored to be part of this historic meeting, Admiral." "Come," Suho gestured. "We have much to discuss." He led them through corridors filled with more humans than Jiho had ever imagined seeing. Some stared openly at him, the first alien many of them had ever encountered. Others were too busy with their tasks to pay much attention. The ship hummed with energy and purpose. They entered a large room where a group of people sat around a table. Maps and data displays covered the walls, showing Alliance space in remarkable detail. "My senior staff," Suho introduced them, "and representatives from the other ships in this first wave." After quick introductions, they got down to business. Suho listened intently as Minji and Jiho explained the current political situation. The Alliance, the Vorn control of Earth, the reactions to humanity's return. "So," Suho said when they had finished, "the Vorn completed what they started. They took our home, claimed our worlds, and rewrote history to paint themselves as the victims." His voice was calm, but Jiho could sense the anger beneath the surface. "The situation is complex," Jiho said carefully. "Many races in the Alliance had nothing to do with those events. They inherited a history they didn't create. And yet they benefit from it, one of Suho's officers pointed out. They live on worlds that were once ours. What exactly does your council propose? Suho asked, gesturing to the datapad Minji had brought. Territory in the outer systems. Aid in resettlement. Eventually, membership in the Alliance. News of the human ship spread quickly through the Alliance despite efforts to keep it secret. Within a day, the central station was in chaos. Emergency meetings were called. Security was increased everywhere. And at the center of the storm was a human woman who had slept for over 300 years. Minji stood before a mirror in the quarters they had given her, looking at her reflection. She had lost weight during her long sleep, and her face seemed sharper than she remembered. But she was alive when all her crew were gone. She had survived to see a future where humans were thought to be extinct. A chime at the door interrupted her thoughts. Enter, she called. Commander Jiho stepped inside. He had been assigned as her liaison, partly because he had found her, and partly because no one else wanted the job. Working with the last human was seen as political suicide. The council is ready to see you, he told her. Minji nodded and straightened her uniform. They had cleaned and repaired it for her, acknowledging its historical significance. How bad is it going to be? Bad, Jiho admitted. The Vorn representatives are calling for your immediate containment. They're saying you're a security risk. They're afraid, Minji said. They know what they did to my people. Jiho didn't argue. The more he learned about the final days of the Human-Vorn War, the more he questioned the official history he had been taught. There's someone who wants to meet you before the council session. He might be able to help. Minji raised an eyebrow. Who? Ambassador Jinwoo. He's new to his position, but he's been gathering support among the younger Alliance races. Minji followed Jiho through the station corridors. People stopped and stared as she passed. Some looked curious, others fearful, a few openly hostile. She kept her head high, refusing to show any weakness. Ambassador Jinwoo was waiting in a small meeting room. He was younger than Minji had expected, with a friendly face and quick, intelligent eyes. He rose when she entered. Captain Minji, it's an honor to meet you. His translation device made his words clear to her. I've been studying human history since I was a student. Most of that history is probably wrong, Minji replied, taking a seat across from him. Jinwoo smiled. That's why meeting you is such an opportunity. You can tell us the truth. Will the truth matter? Minji asked bluntly. Your alliance is built on territories taken from my people after they were supposedly wiped out. Jinwoo's smile faded. Yes, that's the problem we face. But I believe we can find a solution that doesn't lead to more bloodshed. He leaned forward. There are many races in the Alliance who had nothing to do with the Human-Vorn War. My own people joined only 50 years ago. We have no stake in the old conflicts. What are you suggesting? Jiho asked. A compromise, a way for humanity to return without threatening the current balance of power. Jinwoo pulled out a datapad and showed them a map of Alliance space. There are unclaimed regions here and here, not as resource-rich as Earth's system perhaps, but habitable. If the returning humans were offered these territories as a gesture of goodwill. Minji studied the map. Our fleet was programmed to return to Earth. That's their home. Earth now has over 5 billion Vorn living on it, Jinwoo said gently. Forcing them to leave would cause a humanitarian crisis. Minji was quiet for a long moment. I understand. But you have to understand something too. Our people didn't choose to leave. We were driven out facing extinction. Some of those returning ships have children aboard who have never seen Earth except in pictures. They've been dreaming of coming home. Perhaps a shared arrangement could be possible, Jiho suggested. Joint territories with both humans and Vorn. Jinwoo shook his head. The Vorn would never agree to that. They've built their entire culture around being the rightful inheritors of Earth. To admit humans have a claim would undermine their position completely. So we're supposed to give up our home because it's politically inconvenient for the Vorn to admit what they did? Minji asked sharply. I'm not saying it's fair, Jinwoo replied. I'm saying it's the reality we face. The Vorn are the most powerful military force in the Alliance. If they feel threatened, They won't hesitate to attack the returning human fleet. Minji stood up abruptly. Then nothing has changed in 300 years. The Vorn still want us gone. Not all of us think that way, Jinwoo said quickly. Many races would welcome humanity's return, but we need to find a path that doesn't lead to another war. I don't want war, Minji said, but I won't tell my people to give up their right to exist just to keep the peace. With that, she turned and left the room. Jiho hurried after her. That didn't go well, he observed. Did you expect it to? Minji asked, not slowing her pace. He's asking me to accept that humans have no right to their own homeworld because someone else took it while we were gone. He's trying to find a solution that doesn't end in conflict. Minji stopped and faced him. Would your people accept being told to live somewhere else because it was more convenient for the Alliance? Would they give up their homeworld without a fight? Jiho had no answer for that. They continued to the council chambers in silence. The Alliance Council was housed in a vast circular room. Representatives from over 30 races sat in tiered seats, with the oldest and most powerful members at the bottom, closest to the central speaking floor. The Vorn delegation was prominently placed, their tall, scaled forms impossible to miss. They watched Minji with cold, reptilian eyes as she entered. Director Seo stood at a podium, finishing her report on the discovery of the horizon and what they had learned from Minji and the AI Day. In summary, we face an unprecedented situation. If Captain Minji's information is correct, approximately 50,000 humans will be returning to Alliance space within days. Their stated intention is to reclaim Earth and its surrounding system, which has been Vorn territory for over 3 centuries. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The head of the Vorn delegation, a large male named Koro, stood. This is absurd. We cannot allow this human to spread such dangerous claims. The territories she speaks of are legally and rightfully Vorn property, granted as compensation for our losses in the war. Losses you inflicted on yourselves by trying to wipe out an entire species, Minji called out from where she stood. All eyes turned to her. Captain Minji has the floor, announced the council speaker, an elderly member of a long-lived race who tried to maintain neutrality in all matters. Minji stepped forward. I understand this is difficult for everyone to accept. Until a few days ago, you all believed humans were extinct. Now you learn not only that we survived, but that thousands of us are about to return. This changes everything you thought you knew about history. It changes nothing, Koro hissed. The human territories were legally redistributed after the war. After you claimed to have hunted down the last of us, Minji countered. But that was a lie. You knew there were survivors. You knew we had escaped through the fold space technology. That's why Zone X7 was declared forbidden, not because of spatial anomalies, but because you were afraid we would come back. These are baseless accusations, Koro said. But Minji noticed several other council members looking at him with suspicion. Ask Day, Minji suggested. My ship's AI has records of the final days of the war. Records showing the Vorn leadership ordered the extermination of all humans against the peace terms being offered by the forming alliance. Director Seo stepped forward. We have reviewed those records. They appear authentic, though we cannot verify events from so long ago. Of course you cannot, Koro said dismissively. This human could have programmed her machine to say anything. Why would I lie? Minji asked. I've been asleep for 3 centuries. I woke up to find my species believed extinct and my homeworld taken by those who tried to destroy us. I'm not asking for revenge. I'm asking for recognition that my people have a right to exist and a right to their home. Ambassador Jinwoo stood. Perhaps we should consider this from another angle. The return of humanity could be seen as an opportunity, not a threat. Humans were known for their innovation, their adaptability. Those qualities could be valuable to the Alliance. If they accept their place, Koro added pointedly. And what place is that? Minji asked. Second-class citizens? Refugees begging for scraps of territory no one else wants? You are in no position to make demands, Koro said coldly. Your ships are scattered and few. The Vorn fleet is the largest in the Alliance. Are you threatening war before my people have even returned? Minji asked, her voice carrying through the chamber. The council speaker raised his hands. This is getting us nowhere. We need time to consider all options. Captain Minji, how long until the first ships return? Less than 2 days now, Minji replied. And they'll be confused, possibly frightened. They expected to find Earth as they left it, not occupied by those who drove them out. Then we must prepare a response quickly, the speaker decided. This council will reconvene in 12 hours with proposals for handling the human return. Until then, I suggest all parties refrain from actions that might escalate tensions. As the council members filed out, Jiho approached Minji. That could have gone worse. It also could have gone better, she replied. The Vorn aren't going to give up Earth without a fight. Most of the council seemed concerned about avoiding conflict, Jiho pointed out. The return of the entire human fleet changed everything. The Alliance Council called an emergency session, with representatives from all member races attending. For the first time in 300 years, humans would address the council, not as extinct curiosities, but as a force to be reckoned with. Admiral Suho stood tall as he entered the council chamber, flanked by Minji and other human officers. Jiho watched from his position near Director Seo, noting the mix of emotions on the council members' faces. Fear, curiosity, anger, hope, all were visible as the humans took their places at the center of the chamber. Members of the Galactic Alliance, Suho began, his voice calm but carrying throughout the room. I come before you today representing humanity, a species you believed extinct but which has against all odds survived. We return not seeking war, but hoping to find our place in a galaxy that has changed much in our absence. Koro, the Vorn representative, stood immediately. This is an invasion force. Their fleet surrounds our station. They appear from nowhere with hundreds of warships, and we are expected to believe they come in peace. If we wanted war, Suho replied evenly, we would have fired upon your battle group when they approached our ships with hostile intent. Instead, we showed restraint. We will continue to show restraint, provided our right to exist is recognized. The council speaker raised his hands for quiet. Admiral Suho, your sudden arrival has caused great concern. You must understand that the territories once held by humans have been settled for centuries now. The current inhabitants know no other home. I do understand, Suho said. And I am not here to demand the immediate evacuation of all former human worlds. That would cause suffering on a scale I am not willing to inflict. He paused, looking directly at Koro. Unlike some, I do not believe in the extermination of species, or in driving people from their homes. The pointed remark caused murmurs throughout the chamber. Koro's scales flushed with anger, but before he could respond, Ambassador Jinwoo stood. Perhaps we should focus on finding a path forward, he suggested. Admiral Suho has indicated humanity doesn't seek war. This is a positive starting point. Indeed, agreed the speaker. Admiral, what exactly do you propose? Suho gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing a star system that many recognized. Earth's solar system, Suho explained. Our original home, currently under Vorn control. The display zoomed in to show the third planet, Earth, and then moved outward to focus on the fourth planet, Mars, once terraformed by humans, now largely abandoned by the Vorn who found it less hospitable than Earth. He looked around the chamber. We propose that Mars and its surrounding area be returned to human control. We will establish our new homeworld there, within sight of our original home but without displacing the current inhabitants of Earth. The chamber erupted in discussion. The Vorn delegation huddled together, clearly not having expected this compromise. Many council members nodded approvingly at the suggestion. Additionally, Suho continued when the noise died down, we request joint administration of the remaining system, the lunar colonies, the asteroid belt mining operations, the outer planetary stations, shared governance, shared resources, shared responsibility. Koro stood again. Unacceptable. The entire system is Vorn territory by right of settlement. By right of conquest, Minji corrected, speaking for the first time. After attempting to exterminate our entire species, the historical records aboard our ships tell a different story than the one taught in Alliance schools. Director Seo stepped forward. We have reviewed some of these records. They raise troubling questions about the final days of the human-Vorn conflict. Fabrications. Koro hissed. Ancient propaganda. Perhaps, Suho said calmly. The truth lies somewhere between. We are not here to relitigate the past, but to find a way to live together in the future. Jinwoo seized on this. Admiral Suho offers a reasonable compromise. Mars for human settlement. Shared administration of the system's resources. This preserves Vorn control of Earth while acknowledging humanity's historical connection to the system. The council speaker looked around the chamber. Are there other proposals? An older council member from one of the founding alliance races spoke up. I propose we form a special administrative zone for the entire solar system. Both Vorn and humans would have representation, along with alliance observers to mediate disputes. This would create a buffer zone between the two species while they learn to coexist. More suggestions followed, some practical, others clearly designed to favor one side or the other. Throughout it all, Suho listened patiently, occasionally conferring with Minji and his officers. Finally, the speaker called for order. We have heard many ideas today. The council will need time to consider them all. Admiral Suho, are you willing to maintain your fleet's current position while negotiations continue? I am, Suho agreed. Provided there are no further provocative actions from any alliance forces, he looked pointedly at the Vorn delegation. The council will ensure all members respect the negotiation process, the speaker assured him. As the session ended, Jiho approached Minji and Suho. That went better than I expected, he admitted. It's just the beginning, Suho said. The real work comes in the details. The Vorn won't give up easily, Minji added. They've built their entire culture around being Earth's rightful inhabitants. Admitting we have any claim at all undermines that narrative. Perhaps it's a narrative that needs undermining, Jiho suggested. All species must face the truth of their past eventually. Suho nodded thoughtfully. Wise words, Commander. But truth is often the first casualty in conflicts between peoples. It will take time for the full story to emerge. At least now humans will have a voice in telling that story, Minji said. The negotiations stretched on for weeks. Proposals and counter-proposals flew back and forth. The Vorn initially rejected any compromise, but as other alliance members increasingly sided with the human position, their stance softened. The revelation of historical records showing the Vorn's attempted genocide damaged their standing considerably. Through it all, Jiho worked closely with Minji, acting as a bridge between humans and the alliance. His familiarity with both sides made him valuable to the negotiation process, though his superiors sometimes questioned his objectivity. You've become their advocate, Director Seo observed during one private meeting. I've become an advocate for truth, Jiho corrected, and for finding a solution that prevents war. Isn't that what the alliance is supposed to stand for? Seo couldn't argue with that. Finally, after many difficult sessions, a framework agreement was reached. Mars would indeed become the new human homeworld, with immediate rights to begin settlement. The rest of the system would be jointly administered by a council of humans, Vorn and alliance representatives. Earth would remain primarily Vorn territory, but humans would have the right to establish a small presence, embassies, cultural centers, historical sites. It's not perfect, Minji told Jiho as they reviewed the final document, but it's a start, a chance for my people to have a home again. Will you stay on Mars? Jiho asked. He had grown used to Minji's presence, her insights, her friendship. She smiled. For now, there's much work to be done establishing the new colony, but I've also been offered a position as human ambassador to the Alliance. Her smile widened. It seems finding your patrol ship was the best thing that could have happened to me. To all of us, Jiho added. It forced the Alliance to confront its founding myths. That's never comfortable, but it's necessary for growth. The day of the signing ceremony arrived. Representatives from all Alliance races gathered, along with human delegates from each ship in the fleet. The council chamber was more crowded than it had ever been. Admiral Suho and Koro, representing the Vorn, stepped forward to sign the Mars-Earth Accord, as it was now called. Neither looked entirely happy, but both understood the alternative was worse. Today marks a new beginning, the council speaker announced after the signing. The return of humanity to the galactic community, and a commitment to move beyond the conflicts of the past toward a shared future. As the ceremony concluded and the various delegations mingled, Jiho found himself standing with Minji and Suho. looking out a viewport at the gathered fleets, Alliance, Vorn, and human ships positioned around the station. What happens now? Jiho asked. Suho gazed at the stars thoughtfully. Now the real work begins. Building a new home, reestablishing our place in the galaxy, learning to live alongside those who once sought our destruction. And sharing what we've learned, Minji added. 300 years isolated in fold space gave us time to develop technologies, philosophies, ways of thinking that might benefit everyone. I've been meaning to ask. Jiho said, how did you experience those centuries? You mentioned time passed differently for different ships, Su. Ho nodded. For some, only a few years passed. For others, decades. We found ways to communicate across the time streams, to share knowledge and resources. We built a civilization between worlds, between moments. It sounds remarkable, Jiho said. It was a journey none of us expected, Suho acknowledged. But it taught us something vital, that humanity's strength isn't our technology or our homeworld. It's our ability to adapt, to survive, to find hope.